let's get things going. Anybody who joins late will just miss my intro, so that's fine. Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you all very much for joining, and welcome back after our summer break. Episode 9 of our series, helping explore how tax technology can help you. And an incredibly hot topic today, and a subject area which has taken up pretty much the lion's share of our recent months. Today, we are talking all things Pillar 2. We're talking about how the market has responded, and we're showing just one example of possible Pillar 2 technology solutions that are available to you. As always, a couple of very quick housekeeping points. Today's session is going to be recorded. There will be an opportunity for questions. Please do raise them and ask them via the Q&A and not via the chat. There will be a follow-up from today's session for those that want a deeper dive. Invites will follow. And there is a webinar with OneStream themselves on the 22nd of November, which you're all very welcome to join. We will keep it to 30 minutes today. So on to our main event. I'm Ian Bowden. I'm a tax partner here at BDO, and I'm head of our tax automation group. The purpose of these webinars is to really raise awareness of the art of the possible. We run these sessions to give you an idea of the great options that are available to help you find a better way. We pick a different topic each month with a different special guest. Please do check out our previous videos on our website. I mentioned today's session is a bit of a hot topic, global minimum tax, or Pillar 2. And it's not a straightforward one, unfortunately. Some of the soft landing rules require you to use current year data that may not be available yet. Pillar 2 is now included as part of the UK SEO requirements, so more things to think about. And people are thinking about what they're putting in their disclosures this year and whether you're comfortable doing those. Each country's tweaking the OECD guidance to suit their own requirements. And it's going to be a challenge. There's a significant number of data points required here. As you'd expect, the software vendors and the software market has responded very, very well and very, very quickly with some excellent solutions out there to help you. And we are delighted to be joined today by Richard Stringer, who's from inlumi. Inlumi is one of the leading digital transformation firms, and they implement a range of consolidation technology solutions. They have a strong focus on OneStream, and that's one of the solutions that we're going to be showing today. And thanks, Richard, for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Before we get to Richard, as always with these sessions, we do like to provide a bit of a market view on today's topic. So joining me to discuss all things Pillar 2 is Scott Mills, who's been at the forefront of this for a little while. So over to you, Scott.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning, everybody. So just before we hand over to Richard, I just thought it was worth talking through some of the problems that we're seeing some of our clients having when we're talking to them in the market. Now, Pillar 2 is a massive data problem. Unsurprisingly, what we're seeing a lot of clients doing now is trying to identify where all of those data points that are relevant for Pillar 2 sit within their source systems. Now, a lot of those will sit in the financial and tax consolidation systems, or if you're not using systems, spreadsheets there. But unfortunately, Pillar 2 also requires a lot of supplementary information. So you're going to need things such as your addresses using your company secretarial systems. You're going to need headcount, which is probably set in an HR system somewhere as well. So there's a lot of different source systems which are relevant for Pillar 2. And one of the things that we're assisting clients with is identifying where those data points are sitting across their systems. Secondly, one of the big considerations is awareness across your business. So Pillar 2 isn't just a tax function problem. You know, if you've got other functions which are acquiring, disposing of businesses, making big transactions, those can have significant impacts for Pillar 2 that could actually take you out of one of the safe harbors and cause you a problem. So it's actually building in that process change across your business to ensure that anything that could be relevant for Pillar 2 is flagged with the relevant people in the business to ensure that the impact of that is quantified at the time. Then we're looking at safe harbor analysis. So safe harbor is a very good way of kind of getting out of those in the calculations in the earlier years. So a lot of businesses are looking at how many of their jurisdictions are falling within those safe harbors. And one of the things that is attached to that is how often you're doing that analysis. So unfortunately, Pillar 2 happens at the time that transaction happens. So the impact of that is felt at that point. So what a lot of businesses don't want to do is get to the year end and then have to find out the impact of that at that point. So it's working out how frequently you're going to be looking at the impact of Pillar 2 on the business. And then also off the back of that, quantifying the impact of that. So those that aren't falling within the safe harbors, what is the exposure to Pillar 2? So you're going to need to be able to quantify how much of that, top up tax is impacting the business. And finally, I think as Ian touched on earlier, especially for December year ends, that you're going to have to put some disclosures in your accounts for this year. And there's an example that we've put on the screen there, just in terms of some of the quantitative data that you may need to put. You're going to need to have something to substantiate that. The auditors are going to be looking at that disclosure and obviously looking at underlying data to actually substantiate what you're putting in your disclosures there. Go to the next slide, please. So there are a number of Pillar 2 software solutions on the market. We quite like the ones that have the financial consolidation alongside those. So, some of the things such as Oracle, Thomson Reuters and Orbitax have a joint one, and OneStream as well, which is the one we're looking at today. There's some other data wrangling tools there, such as Alteryx, that you can use as well to get you to a sensible answer to get data out of your source systems. I can see we've got some of the vendors on the call today. So Russell, hello, from Tax Systems. So they are developing a Pillar 2 solution as well within there. But we're focusing today on OneStream. And I'm going to hand over now to Rich to take us through that solution.
Good morning, everybody. So my name is Richard Stringer from inlumi. I've basically been working for the company now for 3 years, and predominantly in that time, I've been implementing tax within OneStream at multiple clients. A quick couple of slides before I go into a demo. So a little bit about inlumi. Inlumi are a OneStream Diamond partner. We won an award last year at the Splash conference for the power of the platform with a particular client. In terms of our landscape, we now operate in 11 countries. We offer full end-to-end services from advisory, consulting, and to managed services. From a OneStream point of view, we've got now nearly 150 plus consultants using OneStream, so we are one of the biggest sort of practices now in Europe. So Natalie, can you flick to the next slide, please? So as if you're not aware, OneStream is more of a platform than a product. So it allows you to have multiple solutions in a single application. So where does tax fit in that landscape? So basically tax sits next to your consolidation solution. So then you can seamlessly sort of pull data from your consolidation solution directly into tax. So you've got everything then all in one place, and that's the beauty of OneStream, having everything in a single application. And obviously there's some synergies there as well. So that
I think we've lost Richard at the moment. I think his video and audio is gone. Scott, are you? I assume you've lost him as well.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
Okay. Do you want to take over, Scott, and kind of pick up the points and where it fits in?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just turn my video back on. Everybody, yes. So the tax solution sits alongside the consolidation solution. So what that means is you're able to pull your data directly from your consolidation solution into your tax solution. So what that means is you don't need to be extracting data and loading it back in. You can just press a button and it's there. You've got your latest source of data. Rich, it looks like we've got you back. Can we
yeah,
hear
I don't
you?
know why it's disconnected there. Yeah.
Perfect. I'll hand you back over.
Yeah, sorry about that. Slight technical, but yeah. So what I was saying in terms of you can line your process workflow, so you can include your tax sign-off steps within your sort of financial close process. There's obviously the ability to have a harmonized security model, so you can have the same sort of user access for consolidation and tax. So from a system admin point of view, it makes the maintenance of that security model easier. And then also in terms of sort of the data validations that we've put into this tax solution, we've tried to put more into sort of the tax solution to ultimately improve the quality of your tax calculations. But basically, this solution is all built using sort of native technology, and it's all customizable, and you've got the flexibility to chop and change it. What we've built will probably give you sort of 90% of what you need, but then you've got, you know, the flexibility to chop and change things if you need to. But now I'll go into the demo. So Natalie, if you go on to the next slide, please. So share screen. Can everybody see my screen okay? Scott, is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, we've got you, Rich.
Yeah, perfect. Right, so for anybody who doesn't know, this is at basically the OneStream platform, and what you're seeing here is our tax dashboard here. So this is our enterprise tax solution that we've created. So ultimately, we've tried to create a one-stop shop for tax, to try and make it a lot simpler for the end user to complete their sort of tax calculations. As you can see, this dashboard is in inlumi corporate colors, so it's very green. But this whole dashboard is very easily customizable. So in terms of the images, the KPIs, the color scheme, that can easily be changed to any corporate colors to fit a client's needs, basically. So what are you looking at here on the main sort of homepage? What we've tried to do here is integrate 3 key tax processes. So that's tax provisioning, country by country, and Pillar 2. So tax provisioning, it initially started off as a OneStream starter kit a couple of years ago, but that was predominantly only US GAAP focused. So what we've done over the last couple of years, we've enhanced that to be IFRS compliant, and also to accommodate both income statement and balance sheet methods for deferred tax. Then moving on to country by country. So if you're already using OneStream for, you know, financial consolidation and your tax disclosures, then it's possible to fully automate your country by country outputs, and then ultimately these outputs then will feed into Pillar 2 for your safe harbor calculations. And then finally, the third process that we've got in here is your Pillar 2. So within this solution, this offers full end-to-end calculations. The only thing it doesn't do is the XBRL tagging and the tax submission element. But this is all possible with the use of third-party tools, and we can accommodate that if needs be. So predominantly, I'll focus on Pillar 2 and how we're using OneStream to meet those Pillar 2 needs. So I'll click on our Pillar 2 icon. And this brings us to our sort of Pillar 2 sort of landing page. So as you can see, these icons from left to right are basically the key steps within Pillar 2, and these are the calculations you need. So as you're aware, sort of tax is quite a linear process. So we've put these in the natural order that you would have to complete them. So these are your icon buttons here, and at the bottom you've got sort of your reporting pane, as we're calling it. So here you can customize any sort of KPIs or charts that you want to do relating to your sort of Pillar 2 data. So here we've just got 3 as an example. We've got safe harbor, ETR, and your top-up tax. So just as an example, this safe harbor map here just shows you which countries have passed the safe harbor tests and which haven't. So it's a very good, easy way to sort of represent your Pillar 2 data. So that's basically sort of the Pillar 2 landing page. I'll take you into the sort of main user interface, and I'll quickly navigate and explain the sort of the user interface before I go into some of the schedules. So across the top here, we've just got your main sort of menu buttons, you know, your home page, key information, etc. Down the left-hand side, this is basically your process menu. So here you can select either of the three processes, so tax provisioning, country by country, or pillar 2. And then once you, so I've selected pillar 2, and then you can select your schedule type. So whether it's a data input schedule, it's a report, it's a disclosure, or it's just there purely for sort of admin and group tax purposes. So if I select data input, then you can see these are the list of schedules that I need to complete for my pillar 2 calculations. So that's on the left hand side. Over on the right, these are your action buttons. So pretty self-explanatory. You've got save and consolidate, translate, which will translate your numbers into another currency. Import consolidation data, which basically by clicking that button, it'll pull your data from your consolidation solution into your tax solution. And that's the beauty of having, you know, both solutions in a single application within OneStream. The copy scenario is allowing you to copy the data into another scenario for maybe refiling purposes. And then we've got a group allocation button, which is just basically used for UTPR allocation. The final section at the bottom just allows you to easily complete and revert your workflow. So once you've submitted all your pillar 2 numbers, you can easily click on this workflow here, and you can see this icon turns green. So then you can just follow this workflow process to sign off your tax numbers and certify your tax inputs, basically. So I'll quickly revert that back, and then I'll take you through some of the schedules. So this main center area, this user interface, is basically where you'll see your schedules. You've got your key drop downs at the top, so you can look at these schedules by different jurisdictions or by the group total. Also, you can look at your schedules and data in different currencies. So that's what the translation button is for. But yeah, I'll quickly just walk you through some of the key sort of pillar 2 schedules. So the reference attributes, there's 4 tabs here. So the admin page, this is used to input any of your thresholds for your safe harbor tests, etc. These next 2 tabs, so constituent entities and jurisdictional information, this allows you to enter key information about for any particular sort of base entity, and also submit your elections for that base entity. And then these elections obviously roll forward until they're actually revoked. And then obviously, similar from a jurisdiction or a country perspective, you can select your various elections, and they will then be rolled forward. Next, then I'll move on to safe harbor. So obviously, there's certain safe harbor tests that each country need to do. So here, this is your data that's been pulled in from country by country to do these key sort of safe harbor tests. So you've got your de minimis test, your ETR tests, and your routine profits. And at the minute, I'm using UAE, but predominantly you can select any country you need. So once you've reviewed your tests, you can click onto the next schedule, which will then show you by country or jurisdiction which countries have passed that safe harbor test and which haven't. So you can see here that UAE has passed, but Argentina has actually failed. So that's a very good, quick visual representation of which countries have met what tests. Globe inputs. This is where you enter your data to calculate your globe income or loss. And as you can see in the description, most of these lines are cross-referenced to the OECD model rules in the description. So down here, if you wanted to see them model rules in a bit more detail, you can right-click and navigate to this particular schedule, which will show you all the OECD Pillar 2 model rules. Is that like consolidation and using just native OneStream functionality? You can right-click as well and drill down on any data point from an audit point of view, and that traceability. So if I right click on here and look at the audit history, I can see I entered that piece of data back in July this year. So that's all sort of standard functionality. And obviously with any cell as well, you can add attachments or tax computations or workings to any of that. Then following on to cover taxes. So cover taxes, this is where you'll enter your data for calculating your covered taxes. So it's similar to your globe inputs, and like yet again, it's cross-referenced to all the model rules as well. So once you've entered your globe inputs and your covered taxes, this takes you onto your ETR. So this is basically an automated schedule, and as you can see here, because the UAE meets safe harbor, there is no jurisdictional top-up tax to pay. But if I move to Argentina, which actually sort of failed safe harbor, you can see the effective tax rate for Argentina was 14.11%. The minimum tax rate is 15%, so they've got a top-up tax of 0.89%. So you can see at the bottom of the screen, this is the jurisdictional top-up tax that has been calculated for Argentina. So all that schedule is pretty much automated based on your previous inputs. The next schedule then is your top-up tax allocation. So in this schedule, the system will then allocate this to the entities in the jurisdiction in line with the allocation key and the model rules. The IRR allocation, once the top-up tax is allocated to the entity, the end user then can allocate this to the relevant parent under the IIR. The system will automatically filter only parent entities in the column to allocate the tax to. And then the last couple of schedules, you've got your UTPR top-up tax. So this system then will calculate whether the parent share of the top-up tax has been allocated under IIR. In this case, it has, but if it hasn't, it will then calculate the further tax to be allocated under the IIR and then allocate this in the next schedule in here. And then finally, you've got a globe loss DTA schedule. So if you're making a global election, then you can track and roll forward this in this particular schedule. So that was a very brief overview of the sort of pillar 2 schedules. And ultimately, once you've done your input, the final output is your globe information return. And then this will be configured by us depending on what particular country you're in. So that was a very brief overview of our enterprise tax solution in OneStream. A few sort of closing points. So I think, if you're already using OneStream for your financial consolidation, then I think this solution is probably a no-brainer for tax, because all your data is already within OneStream. In terms of the solution we offer, this is a subscription-based solution, and it is a fully supported solution. So that's both from a technical side and a tax legislation point of view. So we will any technical or legislative updates we'll do on like a half yearly or yearly basis to keep this solution compliant. And then going forward, in terms of a roadmap, we're also looking at building sort of transfer pricing into this and ESG to make it a more fully rounded sort of tax solution within OneStream. So I think that's, over to Ian then for any questions. Hope that was useful.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much, Rich, for taking us through kind of what OneStream is able to offer. As Scott mentioned at the beginning, there are some really, really good technology solutions out there. We just thought we'd show you one as an example and give you a little flavor for kind of what's possible with the types of technologies and things that are out there. I think with the OneStream one, what we quite like is the fact that it has got a separate provision, country by country reporting and pillar 2 module. You can take them independently. If you do take them as a combined unit, there are even more opportunities for data to transfer between them. So I think what we do say from a BDO perspective is we always like to understand what types of technology you're using within your existing infrastructure. A number of the vendors that have launched products have got some excellent solutions and excellent add-ons that we can kind of configure and set up. So it's always a really good starting point. And as Richard said, if you're already a OneStream customer, it becomes a very good starting point in terms of being able to add in the extra tax things to be able to help. And I think what Scott alluded to was that this is pillar 2 is certainly a data challenge with 400 plus data points that could potentially be up for grabs. Finding answers and solutions and finding those data points is a big part of that challenge. So if you're using some consolidation systems and data is available there, it becomes a really good point. So a couple of minutes left. The floor is open to you for any particular questions that you would like to pose to Scott or Richard in terms of the specifics of OneStream, or to Scott in terms of the specifics of any other technology solutions that are out there. All quiet on the questions front. Scott, anything to add to Richard's demo?
No, it's OneStream's a very good example of a platform that can utilize the data that already sits there. So I think, as Ian said, if you have consolidation platforms at the moment, and I saw one of the questions earlier in the chat was around, how we select the best ones, or how does a business select the best solution for them. It's not going to be the same answer for every business. Obviously, it's going to depend on your existing technologies, the sophistication of your data, and so on and so forth. So that is a very big play in terms of selecting the right solution, just because Pillar 2 is such a data problem.
We have had a question come through, Scott. It's, is it planned that OneStream solution will also calculate the QDMT keys and consider these in the final globe calc?
So OneStream has the flexibility to be able to do the QDMTTs. It will not do it, for QDMTTs, you potentially, depending on the size of your business, could have, presence in all 130 territories. So yes, it could be configured and we could maintain those rules. It would, the more rules that are maintained, kind of the subscription cost kind of scales up. So it's very much an accordion on the subscription cost, depending on how complex you need the system to be in terms of those QDMTT calculations. That being said, if you aren't going to calculate them within OneStream, then there are options. There are cells within OneStream where you're able to enter the QDMTT to offset against your globe rules as well.
Any last question for the team before we close out today's session? Nothing coming through. So what will happen next is we'll get an invite for a deeper dive for those that are thinking about OneStream or on OneStream. We'll have a chance to have some one-on-one time with Richard and Scott to go through individual solutions. Richard and Scott are also carrying out a webinar with OneStream themselves on the 22nd of November. So check out that information as well for those that want to go through this in a bit more information. And speak to any of your BDO contacts for those that want to explore this topic a little bit further and expand it beyond the OneStream side of things. So our next webinar we do have another one this month, and that will be with Alteryx, looking at some of the data automation solutions and the data wrangling tools that are out there. So it just gives me a chance to say thank you very much to Richard and Scott for joining us this morning. Really do appreciate your time. And look forward to seeing you all at our next webinar towards the end of the month. Thank you all very much and have a good day. Bye, everyone.